Well, Elon has done it again. In an epic two-can-play that game treatment, it looks like the top brass at NPR were not amused when they discovered last Tuesday that Twitter CEO Elon Musk had slapped a, quote, U.S. state-affiliated media label on their Twitter account. And they were even more pissed off that they weren't notified ahead of time of the decision to do so. Quote, NPR and our member stations are supported by millions of listeners who depend on us for the independent, fact-based journalism we provide, unquote, NPR President and CEO John Lansing hilariously proclaimed in a statement. He even went so far as to say, quote, NPR stands for freedom of speech and holding the powerful accountable, unquote. How hilarious. Since the discovery, NPR's Twitter account has gone silent with their bio as of this recording, stating that, quote, NPR is an independent news organization committed to informing the public about the world around us, unquote, while directing readers and viewers to check out NPR's so-called reporting elsewhere. Quote, you can find us every other place you read the news, unquote. Presumably, NPR has been furiously lobbying behind the scenes to get the label changed in the meantime. If, in fact, that is what they've been doing, they were successful. Well, sort of. Musk has indeed changed the label to, quote, government-funded media. And according to NPR tech reporter Bobby Allen, Musk told him he was, quote, applying it to a large number of institutions, unquote. So I guess I should say good job, NPR. You got Elon Musk to change it from U.S. state-funded media to government-funded media. Bravo. As you can see in this tweet, NPR wasn't indeed the only media outlet to get the government-funded label treatment. The BBC, VOA News, and PBS all received it as well. Now let's see what low IQ, and when I say low IQ, I mean really low IQ, Chief White House propagandist had to say about things.
Both teams here, the Yukon Huskies and also the LSU Tigers.
Thank you. Twitter labeled National Public Radio as a government-influenced entity, putting NPR the same category as Russia Today or Chinese media. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, so social media companies make their own independent decisions about content rules, so I won't comment on Twitter's rules, but what I will say more broadly, I'll say there's no doubt of the independence of NPR's journalists. And has been, if you've ever been on the receiving end of their questions, you know this. You know that they have their independence in journalism. NPR journalists work diligently to hold public officials accountable and inform the American people. The hard-hitting independence nature of their coverage speaks for itself. And so I'll leave it there. Go ahead, Michael.
About a week ago, the governor of Idaho.
Now, some media outlets like The Hill have portrayed Musk's relabeling of NPR as sort of an attempt at placating NPR, but I don't see it that way, especially when you consider that they immediately demonstrated that Musk was correct with stories like this one, which was done in response to high-profile Republicans routinely pointing out that the woke, Trump-prosecuting Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is funded by billionaire Democrat backer George Soros. Relatedly, NPR's left-wing supporters have tried coming to their defense in the absence of the official account's presence, but even their Twitter defenders are getting hammered in the comments sections of such tweets. Caroline Orbueno, PhD, of course, tweeted out, "Just so we're clear, NPR is not state-funded, nor do they take editorial direction from the government. Less than 1% of NPR's annual operating budget comes from government grants and other federal agencies and departments. Meh, meh, meh. It's publicly funded, not state-funded. Meh, meh, meh." Just FYI, that is about as annoying of a voice as I can possibly make. Discerning readers will note that publicly funded and state-funded are distinctions without much of a difference. Besides, even if NPR isn't taking editorial direction from the government, or candidates for public office, they nevertheless spout off talking points that often mirror what we are hearing straight from Democrat government officials and others seeking higher office. I mean, they even quoted the clip we watched earlier where Biden White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre defended them. It's in their damn write-up on Musk's changes to the account. Talk about proving the point. It has just happened too often to be mere coincidence. Sorry, not sorry, NPR. You know, if the shoe fits and all that stuff. Oh, and here's some more facts-based journalism on how the government is really, after all, funding NPR. Here's a clip.
Vince Colonnese is a radio host in Washington, D.C., a very popular one, deservedly so, and he joins us tonight to assess NPR. Now, you live in Washington, you report on it on the radio. Was there ever a question in your mind that this was state media?
Not at all. Our mutual buddy Chris Plant calls them National Panhandler Radio, appropriately, NPR. And you know what's amazing about this? They're trying to prove that they're not state media, and they're relying on everyone who's funded by the state in order to make that defense. So Karine Jean-Pierre stands there at the White House press briefing and says NPR is so independent. She gives a Braveheart-style speech attesting to their independence. Do you think she would ever do that for Simon Atiba? Like, not in a million years.
No.
Not in a million years. Of course, it's for NPR. NPR cited Yoel Roth, the former head of censorship at Twitter, as a guy who said they shouldn't be labeled state-affiliated media. Yoel Roth and Twitter at the time were making millions of dollars from the federal government to censor the American public. These are all completely biased people. And one last big thing that I noticed about this, Tucker, they say in all of their defenses, well, only 1% of our funding, less than 1%, comes from the federal government. Even that is deception. Even that is a lie. NPR is a content organization. The 1,000 member stations that they send content to all pay fees to NPR. Guess where they get their money from? That's right, the federal, state, and local governments. As much as 23% of all of their funding comes from there. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, and here they are playing a shell game. And the only type of organization that plays that kind of deceptive shell game, not a news organization, one that is running a political operation on behalf of the government.
It's totally right. NPR is repulsive, but not quite as repulsive as its listeners, the most privileged people in the world demanding welfare from the rest of us. Vince Colonnese, who is on commercial radio, not working for the state. Appreciate seeing you tonight. Thank you.
Most of this came by way of redstate.com. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.